What is good, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Stay Attached podcast. Today, we are joined by Jordan, otherwise known as Jkap, a two-time Call of Duty World Champion, a one-time Call of Duty World Champion as a coach, and he's in another couple Call of Duty Championship finals. Unfortunately, got second, but he was still there. So, a Call of Duty legend in the community. How you doing today, Jordan?
Wow, let's go, guys. First of all, appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like the distinction between two as a player, one as a coach. So, 'cause some people try to say three, and three just doesn't hit the same when it's in that way.
2.5.
Yeah, something like that. Some kind of fraction in there.
Yeah, so it seems like you were hogging up all the money at Los Angeles Thieves. The rumored roster is Scrap, Hydra, Envoy, Ghosty. I don't know where they got the money to pay for that, but you and them part ways, and they try to form that roster. What do you think of that roster, first off?
Yeah, they were paying me the super max, first of all, so then I quit, did them a favor. Now they can afford Scrap and Hydra, naturally.
Okay.
That's literally just my contract onto them, basically.
Okay. Thank you for that. All Thieves fans, make sure to thank Cap for that.
You're welcome. I think I might be more important, like if you can, because same amount of money clearly, but they'll have to settle for Scrap and Hydra and Dill.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
That team though, it's a great team. I mean, great. Like on paper, that's a ton of talent. I think between Scrap, Hydra, and Dan, it's like 3 players last year who had like 1.1s, 1.15s. I think I don't know what they ended at, but I mean, you got to go put in the work as always with the COD team. It doesn't just happen, but you can have all the talent in the world. It doesn't just happen overnight. But I mean, yeah, I'm excited for the LAT fans out there. They should be in for a good year.
Yeah, nah, for sure.
The level 1 first form bars are the best bars on the market. They're my favorite flavor. Cookie dough. It is so good. I eat one of these a day after the gym or while I'm streaming, playing Call of Duty. You absolutely need to get these. Before every workout or during any stream, you gotta have the energy drinks. The blue raspberry, my favorite one. I've been saying it's so good. Cherry limeade, orange sunrise, tropic lightning. You cannot go wrong with any of these drinks. And make sure you check the description and the comments for links to my favorite energy drinks.
And what you're going to want to do is go to the description of the video, go to the main website, and this will automatically help you use a link. There's no code involved. You can go to shop, you can look for protein bars, and you can get some of my favorite bars. So you click on the level 1 bar. There's so many different options to choose from, so many different flavors. You can check all these out. But yes, you just need to use the link to get to the websites. I'll have links to all of my other favorite products from First Form. So make sure to just go click the links, and I will take you to what you guys need to see. And then what do you think from playing every day, scrimming to coaching? What was the biggest difference in everything for you?
I think in playing, it's like the constant drive to like be the best, and it's like you're directly in control of everything. So it's like, all right, like I'm gonna put in the time, like I have to improve this. And as coaching, there's definitely things that like I learned, especially over the years of doing it, that like I can do better, or like go about things differently, like with my approach, like how I'm making my point to my players and stuff. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I don't actually control the outcome as a coach. And I think that, if I'm being honest, it's always been pretty hard since I started coaching. Like when my teams are struggling, mainly like dealing with that mentally. Because it's like I said, as a player, it's all on me at the end of the day. If I'm playing good, great, the team's playing good. If I'm not, it's like, okay, we got to fix this. As a coach, it's like sometimes I feel like I'd have good ideas and it wouldn't execute. Sometimes I feel like I would almost like say nothing, and then like for some reason just have a good day of practice, or like a good. So it's just like I obviously felt like I had some control, but at the end of the day, not full control. And like it's just hard to come to terms with that, I guess, after so many years playing.
Yeah, you're just there, like giving them all the resources, trying to plan stuff out properly. And then it either comes to fruition or it doesn't. And then you got to deal with the circumstances after of what's going on.
Yeah, and like I said, I definitely didn't do everything right. Like I definitely look back, especially like my first year coaching was Cold War. Like some of the ways I went about things like were not great, and like I said, I learned over time. But so yeah, like, I just want to make the point. Like, I had my flaws, um, coaching, but it's just hard for any coach, just sitting there watching, especially come match time. Like you can't talk to your team or anything.
Yeah.
Just
You're there on
praying
the
that everything
sidelines.
goes well. They remember what you talk about, remember what you emphasized, and hope it all works out.
And then what would you say is like the most rewarding feeling, and then also like the worst part about being a coach? If you just had to like pick one thing for each.
The worst part is a big reason I quit the LAT job is just because, to me at least, it felt much, much, much more of like an actual job compared to playing. Like once we were in season and it's like 6 or 7 days a week and it's just nonstop for 7 or 8 months, however long the season goes, it
Yeah.
varies year to year. But like, dude, it was just such a grind. And like, I'm at that point in my life where I just turned 30, Jesus Christ, but
Whew.
30 and been with my girlfriend for 3 years. So it's like all these things, like, I just want to like, during the season, I'd like to just have a weekend, go do things with my girlfriend or just sit at home and relax. But
Yeah.
it's just such a grind day to day. And when you're playing, I don't think you feel it as bad because you're so invested. Like for the most part, at least me, like I just loved Call of Duty so much. But coaching, it definitely felt more of a grind. I feel more burned out like after every season,
Yeah.
than playing it. And then the most rewarding, the easy answer for most rewarding is like when we won champs, especially because of how terrible we started that year in Vanguard.
Yeah.
That's the easy answer. But the other, probably more real answer is seeing the team I had this past year and how we started that last year with like a team of like young kids who, I guess Dan was like semi-proven from the previous season with
Yeah.
Optic.
He's a sophomore. He's a sophomore now.
Yeah, he's semi-proven, made to the finals a few tournaments, but like overall, that team, especially the other three, were not proven players. So seeing like how we started slow and just steadily made progress with that team, then ended with a fourth at champs, second EWC. Even though I had quit for EWC, I think it was still
So what you worked on,
culmination.
yeah. So what you
Yeah, it
worked
was
on
still
was part of the,
culmination of all the time,
yeah.
put in. So seeing those guys, like, the kids, because like they were younger than the previous teams, so seeing those guys have those results and make that progress was that was rewarding. That was very rewarding.
Yeah.
Like a proud dad. All my sons.
Yep.
did it.
All your sons. All your sons. So now when you were young, ages ago, what would you say
Yeah,
is your first game and video games that you really started playing?
First video game?
Yeah. Like how young were you?
I mean, like Nintendo, like we're talking like Super Mario 64 on Nintendo 64. That was the first one that I
Yeah.
remember. Like Mario Sunshine, stuff like that. And then I got big into sports games. I think I must have been like 6 or 7 at that point. Got big into sports games. And then when I was 13 is when I got Call of Duty 3. And that's when it all kind of, life turned.
That's when it all came together. Call of Duty was your life now.
Literally. I didn't know it at the time, but it slowly became my life.
Yeah. And then like outside of gaming and stuff, did you have like a favorite sport that you'd play growing up? Were you playing a bunch of sports? How was like the life balance between sports, school, and Call of Duty at that time?
Through like high school, I didn't play any sports. I fractured my wrist, so I stopped playing sports. Or partially fractured my wrist, so I was playing football, stopped playing football, and that was like freshman year of high school. That's really when video games kind of took off for me. Like I just started playing all the time, and so there was a balance, and then slowly I just was all in on gaming. High school came pretty easily just to get by. So, I did what I had to do to not fail, but
Yeah, to pass.
definitely didn't live up to my academic potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, so What are you saying?
No, I was
Go
gonna say you probably just played a lot more game battles and scrims and everything rather
Oh.
than studying for tests and homework and yeah. I feel like that's all
Nonstop.
how everyone was that ended up being a professional Call of Duty player.
Yeah, even like I had a good group of friends that asked me to hang out, come up with every excuse in the book to
Same.
stay in and play game
Yep.
battles. And I remember vividly playing a wet work S&D game battles match in COD 4 as my friends like calling me to hang out, and I'm just lying to him through my teeth, telling him like, can't come. I don't. Who knows what I said? But
I think I was sick every weekend when my friends asked to
Yeah.
hang out. Then I'd be fine Monday of school, but every
Yeah.
weekend I was sick.
yeah, it was terrible. Just crazy allergies on the weekends.
And then like with Call of Duty, like the old days of COD, because like COD 4, they had like the online tournaments, a couple lands. When did you first start going to like LAN events for Call of Duty?
The very, very first one was the start of MW2, the original MW2. So it's like late 2009. It was the NJ Halo, which was, I know you and your West Coast boys had a bunch of West Coast locals. NJ Halo was like
Yeah.
the one for the East Coast. So, yeah, it was NJ Halo started the game. I think I played with Crowder. Maybe that was the next one. But, meeting up with him in person, like all the boys in person, was like crazy because we're all like 15, acting out of our minds. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of socially awkward, like teenagers in high school. Like, holy shit, I didn't think I'd actually meet you people. But it was so cool, because
Yeah.
you get in that environment with just people who just want a game, and it was so competitive. And, a local land like that, there's no like rules on trash talk. So people are just screaming at each
Oh
other.
yeah, going insane.
Yeah. So it was fun. It was good memories of those NJ Halos. That was like the kickstart.
Yeah. And then what was your first major LAN event you went to?
It was the end of that season, the MW2 Nets. We were the favorites going in. My IXI team, Extravagant. And then I got nervous as shit.
Oh
I
no.
was literally, dude, it was so bad. I was shaking. This is 2010, so I'm 16 years old. My hands are shaking, my knees like bouncing as I'm playing. I kept punching with my right stick, like not punching back then, just knifing. I kept knifing with my right stick like mid gunfight, so I'm just getting shit on. I'm like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. Pulled out a third place, but like given the expectations we had, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Given my own expectations for myself.
You're like, why do I feel like this? Why am I so nervous? Oh, look at the puppy.
Hold on.
Okay, yep.
This is my baby.
Aww.
This is my baby Blue.
Hey, Blue.
Love her.
That's the cutest guest we've had on. Actually, Blue and Dante's puppy as well. Like always the best guest whenever you have the whenever you have. Oh, I saw. Is that a Travis Kelce? You're a big Travis Kelce Taylor Swift fan?
Jason Kelce. Come on, man. Have some respect. Have some respect for the birds.
I just thought you were a Swiftie for a second.
I am. I am on the side, but Jason Kelce still comes first.
Yeah, of course. Gotta ride it down with the Eagles. But what would you say is your best game you ever played individually? Your talent. You were the best player in the world. What was that game?
Modern Warfare 2. Until I showed up to Nationals nervous.
Okay, so you were an onliner.
I was such an onliner. Only one LAN event too. It's not like I could be nervous and come back to the next event. It was only like Nationals. That was it. And then the people who were around back then like give me a lot of credit for Black Ops 1.
Yeah, I always thought like you were known as like one of the best in Black Ops 1 as well.
Yeah, I was voted the best by the other pros. Not one of the best, please.
The best.
Respect. Yes.
Okay, the best. Sorry, we have the best Black Ops 1 player in the world on the show right now.
Pride in that game 13 years ago. But no, I actually think I was better at MW2, and then Black Ops 1 is where that was the next season. I got over those nerves on LAN, and I was actually good.
Yeah.
But if we count the online stuff equally, I think that was my better game.
Yeah. And like, what teams were you on at this point in like Black Ops 1, and what was the first tournament that you ended up winning?
Black Ops 1 was on Optic. Big part of Optic getting their first championship way back.
First, like that's like their first ever championship.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, me, Big Timer, Rambo, and Merc.
That's an insane team.
Yeah, it was Rambo. Yeah. We won Columbus. It was the second event of the Black Ops 1 year. It was Columbus. Crazy losers bracket run too. Fun fact.
So you guys had the ice. You were just clutching up every single round. It was going good.
Yeah, we went to losers like first round, and then we just started slamming people. Back then, finals was like a continuation, best of 11. We just won 6-0.
Damn.
Electric.
Damn.
Yeah.
Who did you play in finals?
Don't tell you. I think their team name was Force.
Okay.
FORC, but I don't remember the players.
Yeah. That's really insane to think about. Like, you guys were literally Optic's first ever win, like major lane win. It's really, it's honestly crazy. And that's without Seth or Scump, without Nade Shot. Because of course you think of like them when you think of Optic, but this is before any of them.
At that time, Nade had actually quit competitive to focus on YouTube. And then he had to sub in for us the first event because Rambo got sick as he was flying. So Matt subbed in. This is the event before we won. We got third, but then Rambo came back in the lineup.
Yeah.
This is before Seth was ever on Optic. Like, think about that. That's crazy.
That's so weird to see. Like
he just is Optic now. So
yeah.
Like, we're talking about before he was on Optic. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Extra old.
Yeah, literally. And then how long was like your total stint on Optic?
Through all of Black Ops 1 into the next game, Modern Warfare 3, and then I got dropped because I was bad at that game. Because I couldn't. Black Ops 1 was a lot of like jump shotting, which I was great with because I played Claw. And then MW3 was a lot of like drop shotting. And my brain, 16-year-old, 17-year-old me, whatever I was at that point, I could not get it through my head to drop shot. I just kept jump shotting, getting shit on.
Yeah.
So I got dropped because I sucked. And then that game, there was like no real tournament, so I just quit.
Yeah.
Back to
There's
school.
only like the EGL ones in like London.
Yeah, which I don't even know if people got paid out for it. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Big thing back in the day. Crazy times.
Insane. The fact that you had to fly overseas just to go play Call of Duty because there was this working LAN server for MW3.
Oh man,
that's a big fumble. That's a huge fumble.
Back when people were doing it for the love of the game, man.
Oh yeah.
Back in my day.
No,
Let me hit one of those real quick.
No super max salaries.
No contract. No health insurance. No guaranteed minimums.
Yeah.
It was show up to this tournament and do good or fucking starve.
And
not really, but most likely go back to school because everyone was just like a kid back then.
Yeah. And did you ever live in like the team house, like Optic's team house?
I did. I got back on the team in Black Ops 2.
Okay.
I was there for 3 months and I got dropped again.
So
that one, listen, we might be digging up some old beef here, but that one I think was a little undeserved. But it was like
what happened? What happened from your perspective?
We were just underperforming. But it was like it's like late Black Ops 2 into Ghosts. Actually, it was the start of Ghosts when I got dropped. And we were just underperforming, but it was like weird because Optic and it was like me, Nade, Seth, Big T. The three of them were blowing up on YouTube. So like we didn't focus as much on competitive, and like me, I'm just so competitive. I didn't care about YouTube. Which in hindsight, I fucking should have just done YouTube.
You should have just streamed and done YouTube all day with them.
They were playing Minecraft and shit. I should have just hopped on. I just wanted to play COD though.
Yeah.
I was just so invested. But yeah, there's no actual bad blood, but it was one of those. It's like, all right, well, they're keeping those three were so popular at that point. And on YouTube,
of course.
It was like they couldn't get dropped.
Yeah.
So I was out.
So back in those days, who would you say is like your favorite teammate?
Favorite teammate?
Yeah.
Big T.
Big T?
Yeah, that's my boy.
What made him your favorite teammate?
He was just such a funny, like, laid back guy. And he was really good. Like, I don't know. He's just good vibes guy, never like really complaining, never like arguing with him. He just showed up, got shit done. He's had a good time. And when I was living with him too, it was just, I don't know, me and him were always just get stupid high on the couch.
Did you have any crazy stories from like your times in the team house?
I got swatted, bro.
Oh
definitely
yeah.
Told you the story, right?
Yeah, and that's definitely been
story.
like, I think everyone's told it from their perspective and everything.
Yeah. quick rundown for people listening. We're doing a marathon stream leading up to Ghost. We were playing MW3, and like we were all on 6-hour shifts. We wanted to do the stream for like a week or two.
Hmm.
So I'm the new guy. I have the graveyard shift from 12 to 6 a.m. And one night, I guess at 3 in the morning or so, there's just like a flashlight through the back window. All of a sudden, cops on the door, like, police, open up. And it was scary. They came in with like assault rifles. And then I just remember them telling us to sit down and shut the fuck up. And then they cleared the house, nothing's there. And they tell us that the call they got was like a husband had like a shotgun to like his wife and kids. We're just like, what? Like, no,
Yeah,
none
you're
of
like,
that.
what?
Like we're just playing video games, but that's what swatting was then.
Yeah,
It was fucking scary.
Yeah, nah, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then, Ghost happens. Somehow you end up on FaZe. You, Crowder,
Yeah.
Zinni, Classic at
Yeah.
Columbus, at UMG Philly. I remember that. Crowder's throwing
Yeah.
up.
Oh,
That was insane. And also, I beat Optic that event too. I think that was Big T's last event.
I reverse swept him that event.
You
and that
reverse
was
swept him?
That was my revenge match. So I threw up a nice choke sign.
That's when it started,
that
the choke sign?
Wasn't caught on camera. I threw up another one later that year when Ian choked an S&D.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
irrelevant.
When Enable ran into a wall.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was
Licking
bad.
walls, quite
He
literally.
literally just was going to shoot the guy off bomb and win, but he just actually ran into a wall. You got to cut him some slack, though, because he only does have 1.5 thumbs. So,
Yeah.
It is-
And Ian, we know Ian. He's a respawn guy.
yeah, he's never
He's
known
a
for his
respawn
S&D.
He was kind of known for his S&D, just not in the way you want to be known for your S&D.
yeah, definitely not in the way you want to be known.
That's my boy, though. Ended up beating me in the series, too. So sad.
Yeah. After you did the choke sign, and then you got reverse swept or whatever
Yeah.
it was, and then
He probably hit it back.
yeah, he
bro.
probably hit it back.
Embarrassing.
It's crazy. And then the Ghost season happens. You go to X Games with FaZe. I 3-0 choke slam you there.
Congrats. Huge. Oh, I do remember. I didn't remember that at first. I do remember that. That was bad.
Yeah.
Like, that's when you were like Eric was doing your homework and shit.
Oh yeah. He was one of the cogs in the system. There was many people
Yeah.
doing my homework, and
Oh my.
I had people on payroll making sure I was getting stuff done. So
Pathetic.
I was a businessman. I had to
It worked
allocate.
out, though.
I had to allocate my time properly, and I was just investing to offload work so I can focus on Call of Duty.
Yeah,
That's just how business is.
worked out, man.
It
Great
did work
decision.
out. But then we finally get to start teaming in AW. That was
Oh,
kind of a
yeah.
weird. That was weird because like you guys were on Envy at the time. We were on Denial. Pretty much both our teammates sketched on us. Zuma,
leftovers.
Saints. Yeah, we were the leftovers. Zuma and Saints left us to go join you guys. You and Clay joined Denial. Like, what was your like? Do you remember what was going on at that time and how you were feeling about everything?
I remember Zuma and Saints joined Envy with Merc and Nameless, where me and Clay got dropped, which just left me, Clay, you, Chris. It was only because of. I remember I didn't really want to play with that team. None of us did. Like we
Yeah.
did not want to play together when we first started, but we had we were like in the middle of, like the online season 1 thing. You remember?
Kinda.
So like we just had to play because it was either play those matches or just don't play, like forfeit your spot.
Yeah.
So I think we were all kind of the mindset, just like, oh, we'll play the matches, but we don't really want to keep this team long term. And then at least that's how I felt. Is that not how you felt?
I'm pretty sure, but I was also like 17 at that
Yeah.
time, 18. So I probably didn't know. I was just like playing, but I was just like, no, our teammates left. Like, all right, well,
Yeah.
we got to play.
Felt like the end of the world, but we had the matches to play. So
Yeah.
we were just like, all right, screw it, we'll play. And then I remember the only reason I think we ever ended up feeling confident with each other is because we played Optic when they were like on top of the world at
Yeah.
the start of AW.
Destroying everyone.
Unfuckwittable. And we took them like to the wire. We took them to the wire on a comeback uplink, which was like their bread and butter.
Yeah.
And we took them to the wire. I think game 5 we went and like almost won. I don't remember those details much.
Yeah. I know we lost game 5.
I think that was the match that we were like, oh, we might actually be decent.
Yeah.
Like,
No one else is
might
doing this
work out.
optic. Like,
yeah. We just almost went toe to toe with the God Squad when we're all miserable, not even want to play with each other. Like maybe if we put in some effort here, we could make this work. Who knows?
Yeah, we make it work out. And then, of course, like we stick together. We go to, was it season 1 playoffs? Yeah, season 1 playoffs was the first event.
Yeah.
We actually lose to the Envy team that formed round 1. And for
Did we?
yeah, no, we did. We went and lose. We were winners round 1. We lost, and we're in losers round 1.
Wow, I don't remember that. I thought we just got second.
No, we went losers round 1. I remember talking to Nameless after they beat us, and I was like, "Watch, we're gonna be in finals." I don't even know if I was serious or not, but I was like, "Watch, we're gonna be in the grand finals," and we make the run all the way to grand finals to eventually get smoked by Optic. They 3-0'd us, smoked us there.
Yeah,
Happens. Same thing next event. I think it was like a regionals, the qualifiers for champs. We get second again. So like at this point, we established ourselves like the second best team in the game now. Like we've done it back to back. Things going well. We got COD champs coming up. Go to COD champs. You and I are roommates. I'm sure you had a lot of fun with me.
Oh, time of my life. Absolutely.
There was definitely some vlogs and stuff. I had my little GoPro. Always just would try to troll you, mess with you. Somehow, some way, it was literally my goal every day to wake up and find ways to annoy you and piss you off and troll you. That was actually my objective in life.
You were successful.
I do think I was pretty successful. We had some good content from back in the day where we were, raging at each other. You were getting upset. And, I was egging it on, I guess you could say.
Yeah, your little 4-bar comment. That's a classic.
Yeah, I'm on 3-bar and I'm just doing better than my 4 bars. My 4 bars aren't helping out in like the 2 case.
Such a little shit mindset. Oh, I would have beat your ass in that moment so bad.
That's such a good video. Looking back on it, I was such a little shit.
Oh, it's one of those in the moment. I'm pissed, but it's like one of those I'm almost happy it happened.
Oh yeah, it's so good to look back at. So if you haven't seen that video, go look up. I don't even know what it'd be called, Attach Rage or Jkap Rages at Attach.
Yeah, I think that.
It's something like that. There's probably a couple of those. I remember I made the thumbnail like a beak nose, a bird beak nose, and everything.
I remember that.
Like, so I was always finding a way to mess with you somehow. But then we go to champs. We have pool play and stuff where like you have one good team, one decent team, 2 bad teams. We end up losing to Prophecy. We got reverse swept.
That was our last match. We're already 2-0. We're already making it out of the bracket. I think we were kind of like, at least in my head, once we went up 2-0, I was like, oh, this is so free.
Yeah.
I think I kind of let off the gas pedal. Like, oh, this is free. Okay, let's look at the bracket. And then next thing you know, you just lose. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. That was bad. I think
wrong mindset, but now if like my players had that mindset, I'd be on their ass because I lived through it. I'm like, don't do that. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But, at the moment I was like 20 years old. I think it was right before my 21st when we won. So I think I'm 20 years old, cocky a little bit. Oh, we're fine. We don't need to try against these guys. Like, we're already up 2-0.
Yeah. Series will close itself out,
Like, well, 1 out of 3. Like, come on. We're so much better than these guys. And then next thing you know, shit hits the fan.
Shit hits the fan. You're losing map 5. You're like, no.
And then we're playing Optic round 1 of the bracket. And we're like, oh, shit. Like,
Optic.
Maybe we shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Because, of course, we're playing Optic, the team that just won the last, 3 events in a row. Of course, dominating online as well. 3-0ing us in the finals both times. Do you remember the night before we played them?
You were excited to play them.
Bro, I'm telling you, there was something in me that knew. I was just like, bro, we're winning.
No,
like, it was the craziest thing ever. That's the only time I've really, felt like that. It was so weird.
I wasn't unconfident, but I was like, oh, we got to play these fuckers first round. I kind of had that mindset. But for some reason, you were like, fuck yeah, hell yeah. I want to play these guys first round.
Right, it was crazy.
I'm like, I remember looking at you and being like what? Like, why? And you're like, I don't know. We're just going to beat them. And I'm like, you being that confident gave me more confidence. I was like, oh, shit.
You're like, yeah, we're going to beat them. Yeah.
Like I said, I wasn't like, oh, we're going to lose. I was like,
it's a tough round 1,
Yeah. Why can't, let's get an easier road to the top 6 before we have to play these guys. Because back then there was only a few good teams.
Yeah.
It cost us in the pool play match, but for the most part, you could beat some bad teams and end up top 6.
Yeah.
So, no, yeah. Shout out to you for
I motivated you
being that delusionally confident because I was like, all right, if he's that confident, I got to be confident. I can't come in like a loser now.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That was so weird. I don't know what feeling came over me, but it was just like I just knew we won already. It was like the weirdest thing ever. And that's the only time I've ever felt like that in my career. It was just like we knew we won.
You should figure that out again because you probably had the series of your life.
Oh yeah, no.
At least the first 2 maps.
Oh, the first map, I think I had like 44, like 40 something first map,
Yeah.
13 in the SND, and then we lost map 3, and then we won like map 4.
That was your coming out party.
Yeah, that was a good series. That was a good series.
Obviously, we won the tournament too, but like you coming out and just slamming Optic, the favorites, first round of champs like that. I was like, oh, who's this 18-year-old shithead? Like, pretty good.
Hey, they didn't know I was a shithead yet. It was only you, okay?
You were posting the videos. They know.
Hey, they weren't getting that. They weren't getting that many views back then. But yeah, of course, we win that series versus Optic, and then like I think when you win that one series at champs, you can attest to this because you've won many series at champs. Like you kind of know, like it's your tournament now. Like after we won that series, we're like, okay, we're by far the best team now. We're probably not going to see them again. And if we do, we have all the momentum. It's like it's our tournament to win.
It happened the next year. I played him again in round 1 and beat him again.
See, you had the confidence this time. I
was delusionally confident in the Black Ops 3 one.
Really?
Delusionally confident in that series. I had a really good series that. I mean, you know.
I remember you did like a beatdown in CTF on what's the map called?
Crim 6 on Fringe.
Yeah, on Fringe.
Yeah.
And it was just like pretty much changed the tide of the game. Like, that like secured the win.
Whoever
essentially
got that kill basically would have went up 1-0 in the CTF, and then on CTF was map 3, I think. So it was to go up 2-1 in the series. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So it was just like that. It was like a huge one-on-one fight. It was like super awkward. But yeah, I remember I punched Crim 6's bitch ass.
and then you won it. So you win AW champs, you win BO3 champs. You guys are feeling like a god. You're like, I could do no wrong. I'm literally just winning everything.
Yeah, and then guess what? I sucked at IW.
Yeah, you guys were not good the first half. The first half, you guys were not good.
I wasn't good at the end. I'm saying individually.
Oh, okay, yeah. But your team stepped it up towards the end.
I still provided, let me back myself here. I still provided a little value because I think you'll have my back here. I think what I brought to a team was I'm a really good teammate and like really good comms, really good like keeping people on the same page. But at the end of the day, in IW, I just was not good enough individually at that game, and it ended up biting me in the ass.
Yeah,
biggest tournament. So
yeah, it was tough. I don't think Slash will ever forget that. I think he holds a grudge on you forever. Austin Liticote is never too happy about it.
I mean, I'm still don't get it twisted. I'm still annoyed that I let it happen because, like, in hindsight, I've seen so many players have these ups and downs, and it's like, dude, if you just play the game more and like actually put in the effort needed, like you'll be fine. You might not be the best player in the game. Like I wasn't gonna be the best player in the game, but if I just put in more time and more serious effort and like had less excuses. Because, like you said, came off back-to-back champs wins. I'm just like, oh, like, little shit, like blaming gunfights.
I don't need to try. I don't need to learn. Like,
oh, I'll win that on land. And then, it just builds up, and all of a sudden, you're just not that good at the game. You don't notice it when it's happening. Because, like I said, I'm 22, 21, 22. I'm cocky. Just came off back-to-back. And, it just builds up, and then comes time to show up and you're just not good enough. I'm not good enough. So
yeah.
Lesson to all the Kyle players out there. Don't get complacent.
Yeah, for sure. Because I was actually going to ask that because like in jetpacks, everyone thinks that jetpacks like so cracked, the most cracked for everything. Like just raw talent won. But people are going to look at you and be like, yeah, Jkap wasn't the most talented at that time. But you literally could have won all the jetpack champs, which would be probably one of the craziest things in COD history to like go back and win those. But honestly, we kind of skipped over it. Black Ops 2 champs as well. What happened in Black Ops 2 champs? How'd you not win that one? Because I remember watching that, and then I saw Farico win. I saw Parasite's ass crack on the stream, like everyone else. But like, what happened with that tournament? You could win 4 champs at this point.
So that tournament, we were not that good of a team going in. We had a great run. We got a very easy bracket. I don't remember the full details, but we had a very easy bracket run. The top 3, and then top 3 is winners finals. Obviously, that's where we played Impact, who was unquestioned the best team at the time.
Yeah,
and we beat them on like some crazy close series, game 5 shit. I don't remember. Like I said, I don't remember the full details, but we beat them game 5 winners finals. So they go to losers, come back, and it's continuation of the best of 5. So now the finals goes to a best of 11. We're up 3-2.
Mm.
And again, it was super close, back and forth. All I remember is we won a crazy map 10, hardpoint raid, to force map 11. And then map 11, like, there was, oh my God, map 11, like, I don't even know if the VOD's out there anymore, but there was like 3 rounds where we just collapsed, including the last one, 2v4.
Like you had bloods and stuff. Like you were in a great spot.
Bloods, there was like a 1v1 Stainville had. I'm not slandering the guy. I love Tosh, love Stainville, but he had like Killa trapped in a corner, and Killa did some like, I forget what he did. He did some crazy movement to get out, and then he got out in that bottom mid tunnel of meltdown.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like, it's not a good place for him to be, but since he got out, it was just so weird and awkward. And then, yeah, and then like I said, the last round 2v4, Miracles out of 2v1 with like a crazy Semtex.
Yep, naded the guy with bomb and then shot the other.
Like I said, it's like 3 rounds at least where it's like, in hindsight, like we should have won those rounds. And how it happens. Hey, I've always said the craziest things happen in the biggest moments.
Yeah.
In COD. To this
for
day.
sure.
Like, things happen in the biggest moments of COD, the biggest tournaments, that don't happen in practice.
Ever.
Yeah, people, like, the nerves, the adrenaline hits different. So it's like, it's why you have to practice so much to just have the instincts down, because come match time, shit's gonna get weird.
Yeah.
You just got, like, sometimes you just got to make something happen.
And I was actually thinking about this because, like, of what you were saying, like the intangibles you brought in like those days. And in those days, I don't think anyone even knew what the word intangibles meant. But like,
no one described it that way.
You brought them into Call of Duty good calm, setting your team up properly, having everyone knowing the game plan, feeling comfortable, knowing what to do in situations. Like even when we teamed, I remember on like CTF retreat, if we all went 4 down or something, or they pulled the flag, we would all just 4-OE or something crazy to like stop it.
Yeah.
Comeback uplink, we had like a certain thing we do because we were the best comeback uplink team for a time being, because like our strategies, like our game plan was just always so perfect. And that was like unpopular back then. Like back then, I always tell people now, like no one watched VOD, no one studied COD like they do now. Like now it's like down to a science, every little movement and pixel and throwing a stun here, doing this at the same time, team
Players
shooting.
Are still dumb.
Yeah, but like
side rant, but
we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Sure. But back then, like, how did you start doing that? Because I remember even in like Black Ops 3 8s is when you started like just watching the mini map in 8s. And
I started before that.
Oh, before that, but like,
I watched 8s a lot in Ghosts, but it wasn't even. It was never with the intention of like, oh, I'm learning. It was just with the intention of, I'm bored. I'm just gonna spectate 8s and sit in a team, or not. It wasn't even teams. It was like Skype back there. I'm sitting on a Skype call with whoever's watching. We're just gonna bullshit. I'm just gonna have this up. I don't know. I don't know how I like I do think, I'm not gonna say I was the first, but I think I was one of the first COD players to like look at COD in that way. Like, you know, there's more to it than just shooting your gun.
Yeah.
Like teamwork, like there's places you gotta be like a flow of the map, like the assembly line kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's just like an efficiency thing. Like, you know, like, hey, we got to get to this spot on the map. You're first off spawn.
You got to do that. Yeah.
I can't. You know, like, I don't know how it started, but it did. And like I said, I get remembered for nothing else in Call of Duty. I want that. You know, I want that. Like, I had my teams playing very efficient COD, like very teamwork oriented.
Yeah. Hey, that's why you're always in the grand finals of COD champs pretty much, and always at least winning a tournament or two throughout the rest of the season. So, I mean, you proved it. It worked. But yeah, it's crazy how COD has changed from that. Like now it's like so VOD heavy of focus. But back then, and we were showing up, we'd play 8s and scrims, show up to the tournament. You win or lose, you go home, you make a roster change, you go play more 8s and stuff, bullshit in Skype calls. Like, it just wasn't serious.
The Skype calls, too, you're just, like, roasting your teammates.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Just, like, roasting about how dumb their teammates are and how they're getting costs. Everyone's like setting their own agenda. It was so
Yeah.
toxic.
You're at the Hilton bar in Anaheim, bro. I got accosted. Like,
yeah.
this guy's doing this. This guy went 0-7 map 5. Like,
You're
you're just
so unfiltered and so unprofessional, but it's just like
that's how it was back then.
it's also kind of like, again, it's toxic, but like it's kind of what made it fun. It's just
Yeah.
like how open and honest everyone was at like every turn.
Yeah.
Like there was no like secrets being kept, like maybe from like the public, like the bigger community, but like within the pro circle, like everyone knew how everyone thought about their teammates and
Yeah.
other players. Like more rivalries back then too, because you're just trash talking everyone.
Yeah. And then we meet back up. We link back up on EG at the end of Black Ops 4. You know,
Oh yeah.
it was, we almost, if we would have played out how it could have, they would have made movies about us, from taking the last team in the league all the way to deep run in champs. Of course, we choked champs to United. I'm never going to forget that.
Never gonna forget it.
We were
almost the outcasts again, who did something crazy. Like
Yeah.
that.
We literally
Because-
6 points away from sending United to losers bracket, and they would have played LAT, they eventually met in the finals for like top 8 or something.
We would have, the way I look at that tournament is we would have, if we closed that out, we would have played units next.
Oh yeah, free win.
You know, respect to everyone involved, but we were to beat those guys.
Yeah.
Then we were top 3. And then at that point, it's like the epitome of what I'm saying. Like anything happens at these tournaments.
Yeah.
Like on paper, we're not as good, you know, because I've had people talking like from 100T specifically talking shit to me like, oh, we would have slammed you, this and that. I'm like, dude, like, I'm not even gonna sit here and fight this. I don't care. But like, bro, saying you're just gonna win is so delusional. Like anything happens at that point.
Yeah,
Like,
that deep in the
would have been
tournament.
Us, Optic. We would have played Optic and won.
We would played Optic for a spot in grand finals if yeah.
But
But we
there's no
choked.
sad memories in that arsenal.
Sad memories.
You told me to rotate, man.
Bro, I got Listen, I got grab slammed, bro.
It's the perfect storm of
It's
like
literally the perfect grab, bro. Oh my god, I'm getting mad about it now.
It was like 3 mistakes in a 5-second span. If just one of them didn't go wrong, we're fine.
We will literally win because, bro, I'm literally crack aiming with my Maddox at blue. I'm like, okay, if I get this kill, the game's over. Like they literally have to run through the window, and I'm killing you. There's nothing else you're gonna do. And then Donk grab slams me and gets the other kill.
Was frying too hard. Bro.
He overheated, and then I'm like no.
I can't fault him, bro. He was like
he was
positive. Like
he
real
was
kills.
Yeah,
he had a Kias in that game. I think it was the first game. But he's like real kills, double positive, frying the tiny terrors, and it's like I can't fault him.
Yeah. And then that happens. I'm like in a death cam. I'm like, bro, just rotate. You rotate. I don't know. Someone else gets gunned somewhere. And then
so John lost a gunfight, and then I got bad timing on my gunfight. So then they have rotation, and then
they call vision pulse.
L breaks loose, and everything goes their way.
Yeah, I remember after that game 4, right there. Like that's the only time I felt like this. After that map, I literally felt like I was shell shocked. Like someone hit me with a stun grenade in real life. Like there was ringing in my ears. Like, you know that Homelander meme where he's in the movie theater?
Yeah.
That's actually what I felt like. I heard like a ding, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on? How did we just lose that?
Dude, I had some confidence game 5. I had faith we could bring it back. I was actually still delusionally confident.
I think we were still fighting, but like it got to some point where we lost the round, and then like it just collapsed. It was like 3-3 or something.
I think it was like 2-2, and then like one round just didn't go our way, and it just fell apart. Everything fell apart.
Yeah. Bad times. But we did love Arsenal control. We were godlike at Arsenal control.
We almost, Are we Arsenal?
Arsenal control. We were literally insane at that map. We never lost it. Yep, I remember that. We never lost it. But the map we played them on in the control was what's it called? What's that map called in control? With the tank in the church, Seaside. Yeah.
Lamar won the 1v1.
The 1v1 versus the BZ. Lamar won the 1v1, and we're like we won. We literally won. Like we won right there. We just get 6 points next map.
And map 1 we chose.
Oh, bro, wait. Map 1. I'm pretty sure Donk and I were like 16-7, like real kills. We were dominating them, and then something happens on P2.
We fucked up.
And then they chain it to the showers where they have a Tempest. Like we were dominating them in both hard points and choked both of them. I'm pretty sure the map 1 choke was honestly worse. Was like how bad we were.
No.
No,
Map 1 choke was bad, but
we were up like
map,
well, we were just up 100 early game, but like we were up 100
Yeah.
like late game.
but the map 4 it was 244, 190. They had to flood the window, or like 160. They
Yeah,
had to
bro.
flood
If
the window.
literally it was only one guy as well coming through blue window. I'm crack gaming it. I'm killing him. So like it's just over. And then the last guy would have had to run up like the ramp, and the game's
Yeah.
over. Like there's just
It's
literally
literally,
impossible.
Like I said, if it was one of the 3 things just didn't go wrong, you just close it out cleanly on that cannon hill, whatever it was on
Yeah.
Arsenal.
Yeah,
That it all goes wrong.
but it didn't go all right.
Hey,
It went all wrong.
That proves my point. That's some shit that would not happen in this.
Oh, absolutely not. We just get the kills, win on Gun Hill. We're like, oh, nice. But
we win that map in a scrim, nice and casual. Instead, here we are, COD champs.
Yep.
And we're the biggest choke artists fucking alive.
yeah, literally. So moving on from the not fun time, Black Ops 4 ends. Franchising is starting. How did that whole offseason Rostermania go for you with franchising coming in? Because like everyone had a vision in my head. For me, it was just like everyone was like, we're getting health insurance. COD's gonna be real. The salaries are gonna be crazy. Like everything was like Call of Duty's gonna be like coming a real thing now.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a lot because, like you said, like the contracts being thrown out, and I don't know, it was just chaos. For me, my off season wasn't too crazy because after Black Ops 4, my stock wasn't that high. And like it's kind of fair. I was at a point in my life like I had just moved to LA like a few years before that.
The Oak Boys.
Like, I was living on my own for the first time. I was like, I was going out. I was doing more besides playing COD.
Yeah.
And I was, in hindsight, the trajectory was pointing downhill. So I didn't really take accountability for those things. Again, still just cocky, still like, oh, I'll be fine. Like, oh, Black Ops 4, like, oh, they're just crack gaming, dude. That game's bullshit. Like, next game will be different. But then, so that Rostermania, I kind of had all my eggs in the OGLA basket.
Yeah.
Because, I was still, you said Austin's going to hold a grudge against me, but he was down to team with me again.
Well, no, he didn't hold a grudge. Like he's gonna mess with you for the rest of his life, but he's not gonna hate you. He doesn't literally hate you.
It'll come up every time.
Yeah, but he doesn't hate you actually.
But yeah, he was down to team with me. So I didn't have a ton of options. I don't even remember what my backup option would have been. If like I was kind of all my eggs in that basket, got on that OGLA team, and then that was just a disaster in its own right. That team was doomed.
That must have been just a weird time with like the roster. Like, how did the roster even come together? Like, Dashy somehow ended up on Optic with Thieves, who were on Optic in Black Ops 4.
Yeah,
you guys are labeled as the fake Optic. I don't even know how that actually came to be. Like, Infinite bought Optic or something?
Hector sold Optic to Immortals.
Or Immortals.
I don't know how it went down, but somehow Austin and Kenny convinced Tej and Brandon to like join the OGLA and not Huntsman. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I was just the 5th. Like I said, like I was not super involved.
Yeah, you're just like the last guy. You're like, yeah, you want to play?
I was literally the last guy on the roster. I was like, yeah, please let me get the spot. Spot will be great. Team will be good. And team wasn't good. And it's just how it goes. Like you said, like a team can look good on paper. It's how we started the conversation talking about the LAT team. A team can look good on paper, but you still got to put in the work. And that OGLA team, we did not put in the work. We were bullshitting from the start.
There was a lot of drama. I know Ken was calling out Brandon and Tej were showing up late every day. Or it was just like, it just sounded like chaos in the camp.
Man, those dudes I lived like a 20-minute drive away from like the facility. Those dudes all lived in the same apartment building, a literal 8-minute walk from the facility. And I don't have any grudge about it now. I'm just telling the story.
Yeah.
But dude, Tej and Brandon showed up late like every other day on an 8-minute walk. And like then some days Tej is like 10 minutes late with a Starbucks in his hand. It's like, bro. He's just like, yeah, I stopped at Starbucks. It's like, bro, if you're gonna stop at Starbucks, make time to account for that.
Yeah.
And since I live further, I remember there was one day where I showed up like 10 minutes late because there was traffic because I live a 20-minute drive. And like Tej and Brandon were tight that like I got a pass, quote unquote, for being 10 minutes late because I got stuck in traffic. And it's like, dude, how do you not see this is different?
Yeah, everyone was just young, dumb kids like back then. It was just
it's just a small glimpse into how dysfunctional this team was.
Yeah.
And it was not all, making Tej and Brandon sound bad. It was not all of them. I was half-assing it because, like, at that time we had that rumor that, like, oh, spawns are changing. Like, the game's gonna be different.
No, we went into the studio. Sorry to cut you off. We went into the studios 3 times, and they're like, yeah, the S&E bomb sites are changing. The CTFs or the domination flags are changing. A bunch of stuff is changing. It's gonna be a huge, drastic change. Nothing.
Yeah, it was supposed to be basically a brand new game. So we're kind of half-assing it, like, because when the game came out and we're playing it, the squad spawn dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
After 10 years of playing just, like, quote unquote normal spawns, I could not wrap my head around squad spawns. I'm like, I don't understand how it works. It's too confusing. Doesn't make sense. I'm literally like Hackney P2. I'm at the hill. How are they not spawning out? Like,
yeah,
shit like that. So I was banking so hard on, like, the game being fixed, quote unquote, and then it just never happened. And I just, again, I fell behind, didn't play enough. So
that's how it goes.
I have my own regrets because that was the end of my career, and I knew it as soon as I got dropped from that team. I was like, I'm not getting another chance on a good team.
Yeah,
I don't want to float around on, like, some bottom tier team. So I was just like, all right, that's it for me. It's.
What was your last event you played?
I think it was the LA event. We actually
before COVID.
Yeah, the LA. No, yeah. I don't think I played it. I don't think I played an online event. I think it was the LA event where we actually could have beaten Dallas, but we got triple capped on a Hackney Dom badly. Like, we only needed a 1 flag to win.
Yeah,
we just got triple capped and blew it because we turtled. But it is what it is.
Yeah, you played too safe.
Mm-hmm. It all backfires.
Yeah, and then so when did you know? Like, after that, you lost your last event. You're retiring. What was the next step for you? Like, what were you thinking in that moment? Like, did you want to coach something? What were you going to try and do?
The first step was sit on the bench and collect the rest of my salary.
Oh, yeah, the guaranteed ones.
Guaranteed money. For whatever reason, the COD community, I don't know what Activision pitched to all the investors.
Oh, man.
But they must have sounded like there was about to be so much money coming into the CDL.
Yeah.
Because they were just giving out the crazy contracts, fully guaranteed.
For the year.
I'll just sit on the bench and collect my contract for the year. Streaming some Warzone, doing that. And then after the year, I was like, all right, like, probably just going to go coach somewhere. Like, it's just easy and logical from after 10 years of playing or so. It's like, all right, let me just hop into that side of things.
Yeah, especially the player you were too, because you were already coaching your teams, but while you were playing on them.
Yeah, I think that's, basically.
And then how did that opportunity come up? Because you eventually ended up on LAT. I think they bought a spot in the league, and then you were their coach.
They ended up buying the OGLA spot eventually. But it was like late into the off season, so it was very weird. It was like, Austin and Kenny were going to stay on the team going into Cold War, but the buyout happened so late where LAT got the spot. They're like, by the time they got the spot and we knew it was happening, there was, like, no free agents left.
Yeah.
So we had TJ Haley and Donnie Temp. Love them both, but they were not a good SMG duo. Good Lord.
Well, didn't you guys not do that? When you guys not do that bad though? Like, I think you guys went 4-1 or something at the qualifiers.
We had good stage 1, but we also, like, I don't know. We actually started the year decent, like in practice too. I do remember we started decent.
Yeah.
But I forget what it was, but, like, we didn't have the consistency where I was like, oh, we're actually good. Like, we're actually, like, a top team. Because, I don't know, you know how it is when you're on a top team, like, and you're just in scrims every day, everything's smooth. You know on a map, on a situation what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what to expect. That team, for whatever reason, even when we're winning, it didn't feel as smooth.
Yeah.
It just kind of felt like, oh, we won a map. Don't really know how. Next time we play it, we're going to play it completely differently, probably.
Yeah.
But, win's a win. So after that first stage, it went downhill quickly for that team.
Yeah. And I know you're infamous for making roster changes pretty much every single day in Cold War.
Yeah. No regrets about it. Well, maybe. No regrets. No regrets.
Well, you had one good roster, I think, at some point, but that's when Huke became available. And so you guys probably feel like we have to get Huke.
That's what happened.
But I think you had a decent roster. I can't remember it though.
We did. We had Austin, Kenny, Siege, and Venom. But then we were not fucking with Atlanta or Dallas, I think it was the other second team.
Yeah.
We were not like we were getting slammed by those guys in scrim. So it was like, all right, no, not Dallas because they were the one who dropped. I think it was like Toronto. Regardless, though, we we're getting slammed in scrim. So it's like, okay, like Kyler's available. He might be the piece we need to like get into that conversation, you know?
Yeah.
And then it just didn't work out.
He spelled his name wrong at the tournament.
Hey, let's not get into the details, but it did not work out.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was a tough end for that roster. So that's when we kind of went back to the drawing board. Like, okay, now how can we get into that conversation like with Atlanta and Toronto or Chicago? I think Optic was still Chicago, whoever it was. You know, how do we get back in that conversation? How do we make that jump? And we just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. So that season ends. I mean, nothing too crazy, and Cold War happens for you guys. And then LAT Vanguard happens. You guys get a good roster at the start. I don't know how the whole recruiting thing went down, but who was that from the beginning? Was it Sam or Octane, Kenny, Envoy, Draza?
Yeah. I think that was just kind of like set in stone. Like when it all became available, it was just like that was going to be the 4. I don't think there was much like sketchy stuff happening.
Yeah.
I think at the time there might have been like a little question over Draza, but I was a firm Draza believer by that point because we had him like for the second half of Cold War. He got benched mid-season. I didn't want to bench him. Wasn't my decision. But I was a firm Draza believer by the time we were going to Vanguard. I was like, this kid's good.
Yeah.
But I don't think much of the community really knew how good he was yet. He's different. I'm seeing it every day.
Well, you're seeing every day. Yeah, you're seeing every day behind
more
the scenes.
Of a sample size.
Yeah.
I see how much he's playing COD. You know how he looks at the game, how he like handles the conversation, like how to play. And I'm like, oh, he's got a great work ethic. He's smart. He's learning like very quickly. Because you know when like kids who start playing like the first time they come pro, like you're kind of just going off pure instincts.
Yeah.
And then you slowly learn like, oh, there's like a method to the madness. Like, oh, there's like a way to like use teamwork consistently. Like, oh, we can break this hill doing this every time. Like, but you know, at first it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna run around and get kills because, you know, it's just what you do in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But at the top level, you slowly learn how to play efficiently. But yeah, big believer in draws and that roster.
And then how'd that season go for you guys? Because I mean, you guys didn't start out the hottest, but of course you ended on top of the world.
We went 0-5 stage 2. It was an absolute shambles. I don't know how to describe it really.
Well, Kenny switched roles, right? After at some point? Because he was using an AR and switched to a sub.
Him and Zach switched. Eventually. But even then, what people don't realize is if you look at the maps we played in that game, a lot of the time Kenny just had a third AR in his hands. We were great at Gav. We were great at Berlin. And we were just decent enough at Tuscan, like a 50-50 that we could play it.
Yeah.
We just auto-vetoed Bokage. You know, so Kenny did get good with the sub by the end, but he also he's a natural AR player. I've been on this wave for a while. And you know, the map pool just worked in our favor so much. We were down bad though, because we went 0-5 stage 2.
I mean, yeah, you're gonna be down bad.
I don't know. I remember people talking to me like, especially after the Cold War year, it's like, oh, what's the next roster change? Like, for some reason, I never thought about roster change. I was like we have the potential. Like, I don't know what it was that I had faith in, but I promise you, I never thought about roster change. I was like, there's no one out there who's going to make this team better.
Yeah.
It's just like getting on the same page, and luckily it all worked out, you know?
Yeah, it did. Went back to back. Won New York, won champs. Pretty good way to bounce back for you just in coaching in general as well? Because like Cold War was terrible. The first half of Vanguard was terrible. You're probably like, I'm gonna have to retire as a coach
I was
now.
getting slandered.
Yeah. And then of course you finally do really good, win some tournaments. And then it's like you can rejoice, you can relax. You've proven yourself as a coach at that point alongside Shane. I mean, Shane joined, you guys started winning. So maybe I'm just gonna give all the credit to Shane.
Yeah, no.
So I'm a Jkap hater. So
Shane brought in.
What actually did he bring though? On a serious note.
So here's the way I look at it. And I told you earlier, I mentioned how like I learned stuff over the years of coaching. I think a lot of the time early on in my coaching career, I had the right ideas on like how we should be playing a situation, but the wrong delivery. And Shane came in, and Shane was like, he's much better with his delivery. And
yeah,
like,
he's a vibey guy. Like he's always super nice. Like
I remember like me and that year, me and Sam had like a big argument about something irrelevant now, obviously, but big argument one day of practice. And that's kind of one of the points I look back at. Like my delivery was so wrong. Like the point I was making was right. Because long story short, I was telling him to be more aggressive, which is like kind of what that team then thrived on at the end of the year when we were godlike.
Yeah.
But my delivery and how I was going about the conversation was so terrible.
Yeah.
So then Shane came in, which was great because he's like you just said, I said he's just much better in that regard. And from that point forward, we just had a good dynamic between the two of us where like it just worked.
Yeah.
You know? And there was an extra voice, which I think we desperately needed at that point because the first half of the year, I'll say, you know, like me, Ken, and Draws had been together from the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dylan Sam came from, you know, other teams coming to that Vanguard year. So the first half of that year, like me, Ken, and Zach kind of thought the same on how we should be playing and do stuff. And Sam and Dill would have different opinions sometimes. And I think they kind of thought that like, you know, like we weren't open-minded at all. Or like we just, I don't know how to describe it. But like we were being dickheads basically.
Yeah. Everyone was on different pages and didn't want to get on the same one.
So like I said, that coupled with the fact that I wasn't delivering the message the way I should have. Like I should have been, I don't know. I should have been more of like a mediator at some points where I wasn't. And having Shane come in and being able to be that and deliver the message better and kind of get everyone on the same page and talk it out in a better way, it just made a world of difference.
Yeah. Now that's kind of how I see coaching in COD too. Like it's not always about the coach having to know the most about the game, every single little detail. Like it's great if they do, but it's making sure that everything's getting communicated because you can know everything and tell people what to do perfectly. But if they're not understanding it from how you're saying it or for whatever reason, it doesn't matter how much you know because they don't learn it and know it.
100%. And that was the biggest learning lesson I had. My delivery got a lot better over the years. I still think that was my weakness and why me and Shane worked so well. I do think, like, to that point, what you're saying, like, I think I have, that's my strength, is having really good ideas on how to play.
Yeah.
Like, I'll watch a certain situation a few times and be like, okay, I see how it has to work out. But actually explaining it properly and getting the players to fully understand, like, what I'm saying and, like, take into account the situations.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing about coaching is you say something and then it's like it gets taken literally. Whereas like in COD, things move so quick. Every kill is like a different situation. You have to react instantly. Yeah,
you were stunned in this situation when you're not here, or you're full health in this. You're one shot here, like.
Or it's like sometimes I'll be, oh, you should take this gun. Like, I don't know, we're generalizing now, but I should be like, oh, you should be aggressive here.
Yeah.
Then it's like next time the players in that situation, they're aggressive, but this time their three teammates are actually dead. When your teammates are dead, you should
so they should just stay alive.
Stay alive. Like, so finding that balance in the message was huge.
Yeah. And then you go through the, what was it, MW2 season. You guys Had some success. You won an event. That was the first time a team's like won an event after champs.
Dude,
Well, what's that phase for? What happened?
that was, in hindsight, that was a crazy year because the whole year, early that year, probably around January, February, we knew Sam was going to retire.
Really?
Well, the players didn't know. Me, Shane, and Brandon knew.
Damn. So he told you at the beginning of the year.
No, he didn't tell us. We just knew.
Oh.
He kept lying about it. But I could tell. I mean, okay, let me back up. I'll give Sam his credit because every match he showed up that year, he played extremely well in matches that year. But in practice, he was kind of doing what I was saying earlier. He got a little complacent. It was kind of like, you could tell he wasn't 100% locked in practice.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm surprised he was able to play so well in matches all year. But it was every day in practice, that grind, 6-7 days a week. I could tell it caught up to him. And I could just tell, we could tell that he was planning his exit. And he also he had slipped up a few times and threw in some things about like buying a house in Virginia. And
Yeah, you're like, you can't do that if you're still playing for LAT.
It's like,
so it's like,
it was like he like mentioned buying the house. I was like, oh, are you gonna like rent it out? And he's like, no. I was like, oh, he said it. He like, he kind of froze, and I was like,
yeah.
But what are you gonna do if you have a house and you're not gonna live in it and you're not gonna rent it?
Yeah.
Like,
you kind of slipped up a little bit.
Kind of slipped up there, Sammy. Good secret, but on to you. But that, and then plus we found out later, Draws had a kid on the way the whole year, which we didn't know, and I'm sure was causing him all kinds of stress. So the fact that we did win a tournament that year, got like another, I think we got a second, or like maybe another top 3. I don't remember.
I think you got second. I know you got second at Major 2 because you beat us.
Yeah.
After we absolutely broke down to FaZe, we broke down map 5, and then we were just broken. Then we got slammed by you guys because it was chalked.
Yeah, that's how it happened.
We had no regain. But then
tough to have the mental for that.
Yeah, no, that was bad. And Zinni just retired right before, like right after we lost to FaZe. So not only did we choke to FaZe for grand finals, Zinni retires. I'm down even worse now because one of my good friends just retired. So I'm down even worse after the loss.
Just walking up a main stage, fighting back tears for my boy.
But yeah, I just remember that right after we lost, I was like, fuck. And then I just see Zinni retires. I was like, oh shit, it's just the day just keeps getting worse.
Yeah.
Then we lose to you guys.
That day.
Yeah.
It's
gonna
win. Be a losing day for you.
It was. And then of course, you go into the next season, you have the whole crazy roster switch up. You have all the young, unproven players, maybe except for Dan. Dan came in his first year, did pretty well, but like, how the hell did that form? Oh yeah, you had a different roster. Yeah,
I started the year with Cam and Marcus, who I love them both. I'm still rooting for them, but
yeah, they benched me.
It was just they did bench you.
They benched me.
Yeah, so you might not love them, but I love them.
Nah, they're good. They're good guys. They're good guys. They're hilarious.
But this was not working start of the year. We are actually, again, we were pretty good in practice.
I think I remember you guys being like pretty solid in practice at the beginning of the year.
We definitely were winning over 50% of our hard points in practice. Like we were definitely, because obviously the top 4 is a top 4, but for the most part, we were beating all the other teams in hard point when we started the year with that team. But then the matches we started the year like 2-13 or 1-13.
Yeah,
or
it was a
crazy
slow
bad
start.
Hard point. And it was just like, dude, like, again, we have good practice, but if it's not working in matches, like we gotta change it up. So we had to change it up. Few different roster changes. We dropped Cam, and then we kept Marcus for a bit, but then we dropped him, and so then that's when we ended up. I think after stage 2 is when we ended up with the team we ended the year with.
Yeah, because you got Joe, you got Kremp, you got Nasty, all at different points. I feel like. Well, Joe started with the team, right, and then got benched, and then came back.
Joe started the year with us. Joe, I'll say this publicly. I don't, maybe I don't know, but I'll say it publicly. Joe has all the talent in the world. At the start of last year, he didn't have the confidence.
Yeah.
So when we benched him, it wasn't a skill thing. It was like, yo, Joe, we told him this. We sat down, we had multiple conversations with him. Like, Joe, you have the potential to be an S tier player, but you have to actually believe it yourself. So we're like, listen, go down to challengers, because in challengers, like, he's so talented, he's just going to
bully
people there. And sure enough, he does. And then after stage 2, Marcus, wasn't playing much better. So let's bring Joe back in. And then slowly throughout the year, Joe found his confidence. And then I think you finally really saw him display those last 2 tournaments.
Yeah.
He started to actually believe, like, oh, I belong here. Like, you hear those stories like athletes, like
The moment where it's like, okay, I could do, like, I can do this, but they know it. Like, they always had it in them, but like it actually showed.
Yeah. And like, I'm sure there's a bunch of situations where like players had those abilities, but they never fully believed it, so they don't make it.
Yeah.
I think Joe finally had that moment. Like, I think it was a little before champs. I don't know what it was specifically, but I think he had that moment where it's like, oh, okay, I belong here. I am as good as anyone.
Yeah.
So, I think that was huge for him. And then the others was never really a confidence thing. It was just about getting better as a team and get on the same page.
Yeah.
That it all came to fruition at the end of the year.
Yeah, no, I mean, you guys ended the year with a bang, and no one thought a team would break into the top 4, but it seemed like you guys had like Toronto's number, because even at champs you guys beat them, EWC you guys beat them, so it was always like Toronto, like you always just matched up well versus Toronto for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. They were the first round matchup at champs. We beat them in both hard points. We beat them in 3 respawns, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think so.
And then, so I didn't know what to expect, because like I knew we had the potential, but again, it's about getting young, unproven players to like believe and show up in matches. Like,
yeah,
sometimes it takes some failure to like show up, and you never know when that moment's gonna be where it all comes together.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had that moment first round against those guys, and then Toronto had to Neslo us in like for top 3 later in losers at champs.
Yeah.
That was sad. Can't beat us in a hard point. Sad. But yeah, I don't know what it was. For some reason, it just worked out against those guys in hard point.
Yeah, and then I think a little after champs is when you officially announced, or like you and LAT officially announced that you're parting ways. How did that all come about?
I had planned the move back east like way earlier in the year. That's why it was after champs. I planned it to be after champs. I just didn't know EWC.
Yeah, no one knew that. That's just gonna like pop up. Yeah.
So I planned it. I told Brandon and Shane early on the year what the deal was, and I mean, yeah, it is what it is. There's no bad blood. It's just, we touched on it earlier. It's just the grind.
Yeah.
Caught up to me. I still think I could do the job, but I would only want to do it remote. I mentioned it. I think it was the biggest thing I talked about in my video with LAT.
Yeah.
But I just got to the point where I was just sick of being across the country from my family and friends. I had missed like so many friends' weddings, being across the country and like being stuck in the COD schedule. Like, I missed freaking Seth's wedding because like it was like 2 weeks before champs. I'm like, oh, I can't go to Italy 2 weeks before now. I would have loved to go to Italy for Scump's wedding. Like, that would have been fucking so
Listen,
much fun.
I'm telling my team, they gotta hold that. Listen, I'm going to Seth invited me to his wedding. I'm out.
Bro, we would have turned it into like a nice vacation with my girlfriend. Like,
yeah.
Been on so much, but it's just like as soon as I got the invite, I was just like, oh,
yeah.
Like 2 weeks before champs.
You just wanted to be able to like actually, experience life for a little bit.
Literally, it's just like I've been in this world my whole adult life, like since I was like 15.
Yeah, and you were living in the West Coast because, of course, you grew up on the East Coast. But you're living in the West Coast since what, like 2018-ish?
Yeah,
around there, like World War II-ish.
6 years.
Yeah, so like you're just away.
LA. And I was just like, all right. Again, back to the point I said earlier. Like, I'm 30 years old. Been with my girlfriend for a few years. Like, I wanna like have that bigger picture on life. Like, almost like an existential kind of thought. Like, what's life about? And it's like, it's not about sitting in the LAT compound on Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah.
And like, that's just the conclusion I came to, so
you're still open if you can get a coaching job like to remote.
I'm still open if I can work remote. But I'm gonna be honest with you, it's looking slow. It's looking real slow.
Yeah.
I've had very few conversations with anyone.
People should be banging your line. People should be banging your line. I'm not gonna lie.
I think I know ball better than anyone.
Yeah,
but
I mean, there's very few people I even put near you like to know ball as a ball knower. So like,
appreciate that, man.
very few. You're one of the smartest. Very small group, but
yeah, I think I limited my. Well, I know I limited my options, saying I only will work remote, and I
yeah, of course,
don't want that. So
yeah.
I went into the whole decision knowing this was a possibility where I don't get a job out as a coach again. But it was just like I need to take this jump at some point in my life.
Yeah, at some point it's gonna happen. Yeah,
I'm not gonna be a COD coach living in LA forever.
Yeah,
I don't want to do that forever.
Yeah, you don't want to be 60 doing that.
Yeah, I have to take this jump. I don't know exactly what's next, but I had to take it. And it lined up where my girlfriend got a job in New York. So it's like, all right,
perfect.
This is the perfect moment for me to take this jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad because I still want to see you. I still want to talk to you. I still want to feel your aura around me.
Get me a job, bro.
Hey, we'll see.
What's your Rostermania like?
We can talk after the video.
I think I know what your Rostermania looks like, but
yeah,
you gonna give me a remote job or what?
We could talk a little bit after the video, but I just want to say, because you and I, we've been through so much together, so I want us to go through this exercise, I guess you could say. I want us to just list some nice things we like or we appreciate about each other, and you could start. So what do you like about me? Yeah,
I can start. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I appreciate it in the moment as much when we were actually teammates.
Well, yeah, we were young and dumb, you know.
I think one of the best things about you, Dylan, is you can have fun and make a joke in bad situations. Whereas, I think especially when it comes to COD, I am like almost fully serious all the time, especially way back in the day. When I was like 21, like I was so serious, committed to it. I wasn't as good as that. So you found a way, like in bad moments, to kind of crack a joke, be a little shithead, and lighten the mood, even if it was at my expense back then.
Yeah. Okay. That's very nice. I'm starting to tear up a little bit. I know you can't see, but I'm starting to tear up. But I'll say, like, back then, of course, I woke up with the objective to annoy you and stuff every day. But I think it's just because, like, the people that I like to annoy and bother the most are some of my favorite people. So, like, you're just one of my favorite people, and you give good reactions. You, of course, help me open my eyes to being just smarter in Call of Duty and just getting on your system, because you're one of the founding fathers of knowing how to play the game, being smart. And but I think me wanting every day to annoy you really goes to show, like, how I cherish you as a person and how you're a beautiful soul. You're a beautiful soul.
That's beautiful. I appreciate that. And I didn't do myself any favors because I always gave you the reaction.
Yeah, the people that watched us do that back in the day will appreciate it, but the people that are still watching this interview need to go watch those old videos, because we were in, like,
find the links, throw them in the description.
Yeah, I might have to, because we were going to war. Like, I would go to school every day from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and then just come home and just be in war with Jkap from 4 p.m. until midnight.
I think I learned, probably a little late in life. I think I learned a few years after that, like, if I can just brush off a joke, and then, like, when you're being shit, I could just brush it off, and then you won't keep doing it. But I always gave you the reaction you wanted. Always gave you the attention.
Yeah, it was funny.
Just inspired you to do it more.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did back then. I was just
100%, that's how it worked.
Because I literally never did it with Chris or Clay. Like, I never really trolled them at all, because they're just like, shut up, and they wouldn't say anything.
I know.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
Like if someone gives you like a bad nickname, if you just like brush it off, like, nickname's gone. No one's gonna.
Yeah, like, oh, that's funny, haha. But like, you don't care, like.
But if you get like a little butthurt about it, all of a sudden that nickname's gonna stick. Like, that's your new nickname. Congrats.
Yeah, I was a little shit back then. You were a skinny little nerd back then before you got all buff and stuff.
I'm like, I gotta get back into that.
Hey, you're getting back to it. Don't worry. Don't worry. But.
Maybe eventually. We'll see.
That's going to be it for me, man. It was a great time rejoicing with you, reconnecting, and just talking about our history, your come up, Call of Duty life, everything. I appreciate you for real for coming on the show. Hopefully you
Right.
guys watching enjoyed it as well. This is a Call of Duty legend right here who honestly probably taught most of the people, if not all the people, how to play Call of Duty to this point. Without Jkap, Call of Duty really doesn't get played like this. First person off
Like a little
spawn isn't
coaching
taking the
tree,
long route. Last person off, fourth guy in line, watch the pinch. That might not exist without Jordan Kaplan.
Kids still can't get it right, and it pisses me the fuck off when I see it. Oh my god. The history's there. 10 years of hardpoint data. Last guy watched the pinch, first guy long route. I'll still see 18-year-olds coming up. First guy just bang in the front of the hill. I'm like, oh, it gives me headaches.
Some of them will learn at some point and have successful careers. Some of them won't, and who knows where they'll end up. But it's been an absolute pleasure. What I would love to see like a stream, or like if you don't get a coaching gig, like I would love to see like a stream or something. You breaking down Call of Duty matches. I would love that.
I'm in this weird spot where like I want to still talk about COD, but it's like in order to do that consistently, it's like I gotta start streaming, and it's like right now, it's like I don't know what to stream in the offseason. Like I'm not really playing games much anymore. FIFA just came out, so I'm playing a little FIFA. But like, it's just,
Yeah.
I do have that desire to still talk about COD, but I got to figure out the right way to do it and if it's worth it.
I mean, even if you just turn your stream on during the season after some league matches and talk about it, the ball knows. Honestly, the viewers are going to start off slow for the community, but I think all the pros and all the teams are going to be like using you as a coach. Like, Jkap said you should be doing this here. Go do this now. You played it wrong. I just saw it on Jkap's stream. So
That'd be
like,
insane if that happens.
it would. Honestly, it would.
See.
So I think you need to do it. Okay.
All right. You just want free coaching, basically.
Yeah. I just want free coaching. All right. But thank you so much for coming on the show. If you guys made it to the end, you are real ones for watching and listening through all the Spotify or the audio platforms. Shout out Jkap. Go show him some love. Links in the description to all his channels. Go bully him to stream and make some Call of Duty content, please.
Yeah, might work. Appreciate you, Dill. Love you.
Love you too. Thank you, man.
Peace.